People who grew up in the 1970s carry a mindset that feels almost impossible to explain to anyone born after the 2000s. Their entire psychology was shaped by silence, freedom, danger, and a style of childhood that would get most parents in trouble today. Yet those early years built a way of thinking that still appears in how they argue, trust, love, work, and survive. They grew up with almost no supervision. If you vanished for 5 hours, no one panicked. There were no phones, no GPS, no constant check-ins. You had a bicycle, a few friends, and a simple rule: be home before dark. And even that could be negotiated. This kind of childhood created something rare today: an instinctive confidence in handling life without someone guiding every step. People from the 70s still have this strange little voice that says, "I'll figure it out," even when they're completely lost. But to understand them fully, you have to look at the generation that raised them. Their parents survived World War II or grew up in its shadow. Imagine being raised by someone who knew real fear, real hunger, and real sacrifice. These parents didn't talk much. They didn't complain. They didn't fall apart. They endured. And without realizing it, they passed that survival mindset to their kids. This is why people from the 70s grew up faster. Responsibility wasn't something they learned from a book. It lived in their house. You helped because help was needed. You fixed things because no one was coming to do it for you. If something broke, you repaired it. If life went wrong, you adapted. They didn't grow up believing that someone else would step in. Most of the time, the someone was them. And here's what most people forget: their world forced them to grow a spine. They watched their parents work long hours without whining. They saw neighbors help each other without bragging or taking pictures. They watched adults carry the weight of real life quietly. Children raised in that environment learn something simple but powerful: life is serious, but you can handle it. Problems are normal. Responsibility isn't a punishment, it's a duty. People from the 70s became dependable because they had no choice. And that's why even today, they seem older than their age, not physically, but mentally. Their maturity didn't come from lessons or lectures. It came from seeing life up close, without filters, without shortcuts, and without distractions. They're almost poetic in a way. They became the bridge. One foot in the old world, slow, raw, and real. The other in the new world, fast, loud, and digital. They remember a life with no internet, no screens, no constant noise. And now they watch a generation drowning in all of it. Maybe that's why talking to someone from that era feels different. They're grounded. They're present. They're not trying to impress you or win some invisible contest. Their confidence comes from the childhood they survived, the struggles they embraced, and the responsibilities they handled long before they understood what responsibility even meant. They remind us of something simple. Strength isn't taught, it's built through testing. Now look at the generation born after the 2000s. They grew up holding a phone before they learned how to form full sentences. Notifications, feeds, videos, messages. Their brains have been running at full speed since they were children. And you can see the impact everywhere. They get tired quickly, overwhelmed easily. And their attention slips in seconds because they absorb more information in a single day than 70s kids saw in an entire week. Social media gives them connection, but also pressure. They compare themselves constantly, often without realizing it. They feel behind even when they're not. Their mind never rests because the phone never stops calling for attention. Even when they're relaxing, they're scrolling, and scrolling is not rest. This generation is brilliant, creative, and open-minded. But they're also mentally drained, overstimulated, and emotionally exhausted in ways older generations never had to face. They're growing up in a world that moves faster than the human brain was designed to handle. And they're trying to keep up one notification at a time. So here's the question: which generation had it harder, and why? And tell me, are you from before 1980 or after it? I want to know where you fit. If this made you think differently, hit subscribe. We dive deeper every day. And don't forget to like the video, it helps more people find messages like this.